All right. Today we're going to learn if who's a greater mitzvah, to give tzedakah or to lend money to somebody that needs a loan, needs a halva. Who's greater? So the Gemara in Shabbos, Daf Samach Gimel, the Gemara says, "V'amar Rav Shimon ben Lakish, Godel hamalve," somebody that lends money, gives a gemach, free interest loan, yoser min ha'oser tzedakah. He's greater than somebody does tzedakah. Umatil bakis yoser mikulam. What's matil bakis? So Rashi over here said that matil bakis says moes sumlai, either money or merchandise he gives to somebody. Listaker b'em lemachtetz sochar. He says, I'm going to give you money, you buy and sell whatever, you make a profit, will split half and half. And in Maseches Psochim, the same Gemara, similar, it's almost the same, but similar words, wording over there, it's very similar. And Rashi brings over there, by Maseches Psochim, he gives him merchandise. Yeah, in any case, the idea is that it's a lot greater loan than tzedakah, because somebody, as we mentioned already, tzedakah, somebody already comes to get tzedakah, in a way he's embarrassed, he doesn't feel comfortable, you have to ask for help, but you have to, he comes from, he's desperate. A loan is less embarrassed. I'm going to give it back to you. I'm not asking you for tzedakah. And somebody that's giving somebody money to do business, it's even greater, because over there it's a zero busha. We're doing business. Business is good for both of us. I'm not taking a loan and you're not benefiting anything. You're going to benefit too. Obviously, that's have to be done according to the halachas of ribis. I'm not going to go to the details of it, but if it's done the right way, that's the highest level. It's interesting. And in this Choshen Mishpat, in Siman Tzadik Zayin, there's very little written in the details of this halacha of loan. The Aruch HaShulchan brings, and Choshen Tzadik Zayin, he says, "V'chen amru Chazal godel hamalve min ha'oser tzedakah umatel bakis l'mech tzedakah yoser mikulan." He brings this, what the Gemara says, l'halacha. So now the question is, why in Hilchas and in Shulchan Aruch, where it talks about halachas of halva and Tzadik Zayin, the Shulchan Aruch doesn't bring this? Why? The answer is very simple. The reason the Shulchan Aruch doesn't bring this, so it says the Prisha, like this. He says, when we talk about the priorities of tzedakah, he says, "Yelfinon midichsiv ha'oni imach v'chenadin b'tzedakah k'mo shekosu b'yeredeya siman reish nun aleph." So he refers you, a lot of the halachas that refers to lending money, if you look in Hilchas Tzedakah, it's very similar. So if we look in Hilchas Tzedakah, there's a lot of details over there that's not brought over here. And here's one of the details. I had a shayla yesterday, somebody asked,
I just want to say goodbye to you.
It's somebody asked,
Okay, let's say goodbye.
Somebody asked in the Chayra, what's greater what's greater to give tzedakah? I mean, to give a loan. You have two type of loans. You have somebody locally needs a gemach, but he's not Shomer Shabbos, and then you have somebody out of town wants a gemach, a Shomer Shabbos. Who are you going to give first? A lot of such a question could ask once against the other. What comes first? So this not discuss this question in Hilchas Halva in Choshen Mishpat Tzadik Zayin. However, in Hilchas Tzedakah, that question is discussed over there. Here is what the Tur and the Beis Yosef, they say about this question over there. Okay, in Reish Nun Beis, the Tur brings like this: Shovoy Shehimir. Somebody was in captivity, but he went away from Yiddishkeit. Afilu lemitzvah achas. He didn't completely went away from Yiddishkeit. He did one mitzvah. Kagon sheoichel nevelas lachis. He doesn't do it just because he has a big yitzhar to eat treifas. He does lach. He says, I don't care for kashrus. He says, I'm eating treifas. He says, any other mitzvah he's doing lahachis. He says, osur livdoisa. According to the Tur, if somebody, he makes things against lahachis, meaning he's doing it purposely, he doesn't care for the halacha, he's not doing it because he feels I'm weak in this, I cannot refuse a good meal, non-kosher meal, he just says I'm doing lahachis purposely, then he says you're not allowed to redeem it. That's according to the Tur. Now, the Beis Yosef, in Reish Nun Aleph, he brings the smag, and I'm going to read it inside. It's very important that we're going to see the halacha, what to do with this. When you have such a conflict, somebody not Shomer Shabbos asking for help, whether loan, whether it's tzedakah, and then you have somebody Shomer Shabbos, not Aniyeh Ircha, from different city. Which comes first? So it's like this. The Beis Yosef brings the Reish Nun Aleph the smag. He says, Zelashon smag. Shemoya avarian b'mezid. If somebody is an avarian, is going in the midst of the Torah purposely, ba'achas mikol hamitzvos amuros b'Torah, v'lo also tshuva. He didn't do tshuva. Eno chayav lach yoisoi. He says you're not mechuyav to support him. V'lo la'alvoisoi, or to lend him money. It's clear. V'chsiv v'chei ochicho imoch. It says v'kevan v'chsiv me'achad achicho v'kevan she'ovar b'mezid. Since this person does aveira b'mezid, even one of the aveiras purposely says I don't care for this halacha. Yotzom michalal ha'achva. That's the lashon of the smag. He's not anymore achicho. He's not anymore your brother. Ad sheyilke, meaning till he's going to get punished as one of Sanhedrin or now till he does tshuva. This, what the Smak brings, there's a big contradiction to it. In Maseches Gittin, it says over there, Shrav Ami, or Yoroitzel Libdos Mumar Ochel Neveles Leteoven. Somebody was known in the time of Rav Ami, he was in captivity. Rav Ami wanted to redeem him, and he was Ochel Leteoven. He was eating treifas, not because he wanted to do Lachis purposely, he just had a weakness. He says, Live in the Mishuras Adin Hoyo. The Smak says, what Rav Ami wanted to do, he wasn't mechuyev to do that. He was not mechuyev to, it's not Ochicha anymore, it's not your brother, because he's not acting like your brother, but he did it, live in the Mishnah, he didn't have to do that. So according to this, comes like this. If it's lahachis from the lotion of the Tur Mashma, you're not allowed to redeem him. And if it's letei oven, you don't have to, but you could, if you want to. That's the shita really of the Beis Yosef, how the Beis Yosef concludes this. However, so according to this, comes out like this. Since, if somebody does b'mezid, let's say Michal Shabbos b'faretz b'mezid, says I don't care, I know what Shabbos is, I don't care for Shabbos, then he's lahachis. According to the Tur, you're not allowed to support him. And if he does it not b'mezid, meaning he's not, he just don't know better. He doesn't know. He's not lahachisnik. He's not against his own brothers. He's a weakness. He doesn't know any better. Then, if you want to, you could. So it comes out like this: I have somebody calling from a different city. I'm mechuyev to help him if I can. And this guy, I'm not mechuyev to help him because whether he's lahachis, whether he's leteovan, lahachis I don't have to bichlal, but leteovan, the choira, the guy from the other city comes first, even though he's not aniyah ircho, whether it's tzedakah, whether it's alone, because over there by the other city, I have a chiyuv to help him if nobody's here. And this guy over here locally, I don't have a chiyuv. It's just if I wanted to. The other guy out of town will be first if it's Shemer Torah or Mitzvahs. However, it's not so poshut. Comes the Bach and flips the whole thing around. The Bach says like this. Yesh loymar. Whatever the two wrote, osur livdoisa, the dafka livdoisa osur kedin goyim, the lama'alin v'lomaridin. If somebody, we have one of our enemies that's not on our side, I have to redeem him from captivity, I don't have to go out of my way. Aval, he says, all this, only livdoisoi. Aval lefarnesoi, to support somebody, even he does mumar averes lelachis, Shore, the logora migoyim, the befanesim aniyeyim mipnei darche shalom. There is halacha befanesim aniyeh of the kechovim mipnei darche shalom. If he comes, Mishmei comes, we do it. That's able. Darche shalom, the same thing. That comes nochri. He needs a help. Yeah, we help. We have a tzedakah account. We have a gemach account. The guy says I need, and I know, like I said, if it's all the same, meaning I know he's going to give it back to me, or it's tzedakah. I know I could give him. I have to give him mefanesim together. So he says over here too. He's not the mumar lahachis. It's not worse than akum. That's obviously not enough. It's not worse than that. Definitely, he says the shore you're allowed to support him. Yeah. The Kach cost of smak lehedya. The afilu lahachis eno chayav lezunoi. Alma, the smak says, not the smak with the gimel smak with the kuf seven mitzvahs cotton. It says eno chayav lezunoi. It's medayik the bachon. So you don't have to support him. Alma mashma the en isur. There's no isur. Im roitze lezunoi lefanes a canal. With the look of Beis Yosef. Again, he clearly disagreed with the Beis Yosef. Okay, now the halacha lemaisa. What to do? Comes a practical question. Somebody from the city is not Shomer Shabbos, comes for help, whether tzedakah or he needs a loan. Somebody out of town, Shomer Torah mitzvahs, wants help. Who's going to come first? So I would tell you, most people today that we know are not lahachis. Most people today not doing because they want to make you angry, because they're going against Hashem. No, they just either don't know any better, or either had a different upbringing, or they have big yitzhara. It's more like te'ovan. It's more because they want to do it for their benefit and pleasure. Some you're already allowed. Even according to Beis Yosef, in such a case, you're allowed to help him. And even according to the Bach, even the lahach is, you're still allowed to support him. Pidyon Shvuim, you don't go. Pidyon Shvuim, it's a different story. It's mamish going out of the way. That you don't do to redeem him from the jail. You don't do that. But lefarnes, yeah. So according to this, comes out, really, if somebody locally comes, and you know, let's say, talking about the loan now, you know he's going to give it back to you. Otherwise, even he's a Shomer Torah mitzvah, you don't have to give it to him. And comes somebody from out of town, the Chayre should give it to him. He's aniyah ircha, and mefanesim aniyah akum aniyah Yisrael over here. The Chayre should give it to him. And furthermore, I have another reason why I want to say to give it to him. Because even you're going to argue what's the priority over here. Yeah, I could give it to him, but what comes first? Aniyah ircha, my over here, or aniyah iracheres. It's brought in poskim clearly, the Gabat Tzedakah also. They talk about a lot from different chapters of Halacha Tzedakah, that even though mitzad halacha I have to give tzedakah first to my own family or to people from my own city, but it says a person should not give all tzedakahs only to relatives, only to bnei ha'ir. And Adrabah, we learn from the Gemara, from David Amelech, that's maybe rav la'olam, that brings hunger to the world, but that brings midas adin. We have to diverse the tzedakah. The way the poskim recommend in such a case, when you have a family, poor person that you have to support, and you have others coming to you, you should give 50% of your tzedakah to your relatives, or to Aniyah Ircha, the other 50% give to others. Same thing would be in this case. If you have Aniyah Ircha, which is, if it's not Shomer Torah mitzvahs, yeah, maybe you don't have such a big chiyuv like his Achicha, Shomer Torah mitzvahs. He's still, Bechlal, even though he's not Aniyah Ircha so much, you can say, you still have to diverse your tzedakah and chesed. Memela, he also deserves, so you should give it to him too. So there's Memela, halacha l'mayis, if a guy who locally comes, you should definitely, even though it's not Shomer Torah mitzvahs, you should definitely help him.